Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are continuing with Windows 365 Masterclass. In this episode number 15, we have a special guest in our channel. His name is Ravi. He works at Microsoft. Ravi is going to help us understand how the Windows 365 reporting is going to work. Hey Ravi, thanks for taking time to join our channel and explaining Windows 365 reporting. Over to you to introduce yourself and take us through.
Thanks, Shushant. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Ravishankar Nandagopalan. I'm a senior PM with the Windows 365 Azure Virtual Desktop Customer Acceleration Team. I'm based in Melbourne, and I'll take a few minutes to essentially walk you through what are the reporting options available, what are the data points that are available for you to look at and see how to go about achieving different tasks, etc. Right? So I'll do a screen sharing in about a second. So essentially, when it comes to data in Windows 365, reporting is one section of it. As reporting, as the name suggests, it basically provides data aggregated over a period of time. In this case, usually it's aggregated over 7 days, 28 days, and refreshed every 24 hours. So there is bound to be delays in terms of how up to date the data is. And then there are data sources within Windows 365 where you can get near real time data for troubleshooting purposes. So, as much as for operations, reporting is essential, troubleshooting data is also essential. So, we will take a look at both those reports, both those data sources, and how to pick and choose which data source to use for achieving the goal that you have in hand. All right. So, just to set expectations, I will not be going too deep into each of these reports because they are pretty straightforward and simple, and there are tons of documentations available. So, I will stick to introducing those reports, what their purpose is, etc. And Shushant, feel free to ask
Ask
me
any
any
question.
questions.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Ravi.
Perfect. So let me share my screen first. This is the Intune portal, essentially the management portal for managing Windows 365 and cloud PCs. So cloud PC is nothing but a instance of Windows 365, basically your compute environment. In order to look at data, there are multiple areas, like I mentioned. One of the top areas in Intune is reports. So you can get into reports, and you'll see that along with Intune reporting, there are multiple other reports available. So the first and foremost area that I would take you is with endpoint analytics. So this blade focuses on the analytical information for all your devices that are being managed by Intune. And Windows 365 by default will be managed by Intune. So we will focus purely on that. As you can see, we have a handful of reports, all but the battery health applies to it because obviously
Yeah,
Windows 365 Cloud PC is just a virtual machine in the cloud, so battery health doesn't apply. So we have what we call as startup performance, essentially how the performance is in terms of when a cloud PC boots up after restart or cold booting. It The Intune report provides it with a score, and by default, it is going to show you organization wide baseline. So when you go into the report, you can see different scoring. What is the time taken, or what is the score for core boot scenarios and core sign in scenario? And it will provide you with breakdown on where it is taking more time. So in this case, for example, to sign in, it took 31 seconds in here, average. And for applying GPO policies and to a responsive desktop, how long it took, etc. One of the cool things about any of these reports is that at the end of it or to the side of it, you will see insights and recommendation. So in essence, what it will do is to simplify the um, job of getting or gleaning the insights from these reports. It'll provide recommendations. In this case, for example, you have one device with slow sign-in time. So I can simply click on it. It's going to take me into the startup performance device performance view in here, and within that I can look at all the cloud PCs that are available, and here it is going to tell me what are the boot performance, the startup performance, core, etc., and the core sign in time, etc. So in this view you can look at which are all the potential cloud PCs that are having problem. So you can go in and check by clicking on each of these cloud PCs and seeing whether there is anything that of interest that you need to do with the cloud PCs proactively, or reactively. When a user reaches out to you, you can get into this cloud PC and see what is going on within the cloud PC itself. For example, historically, what has been the trend? So the user might have installed an app that has increased the startup performance time, or so you can see the historical trend. Or it could be something else that has happened that has caused the increased startup performance. So that is one way of looking at it. So it'll give you historical data over a period of time, and it'll give you the data date stamped and time stamped, as well as what are all the actions that were performed while this data was taken, right?
Right.
So
Ravi, can I interrupt and ask a couple of
sure,
questions?
you can
Uh,
go for it.
First question: does customers need a special license like advanced endpoint analytics to view this, or is it by default they can go through these reports?
Yeah, so they do get this analytics report as part of their licensing entitlement for Windows 365.
Okay.
Now, they don't need to do anything special when a customer is new to endpoint analytics and they are just getting started. When they click on endpoint analytics, the landing page, essentially they will be given an option to enable the endpoint analytics. So this service does not automatically collect data for you. You need to opt in
Right.
and allow the service to collect and provide these reports. So that page will show up when, if the tenant is not signed up for endpoint analytics. That's the only action that the admin needs to do. Once that is done, then the data will start flowing in and refreshing from time to time.
And they don't have to install any special agent or something. Intune agent does all the work for them, right?
That is correct. So, as you will see, data for Windows 365 in particular gets pulled in via Intune agent, as well as the platform level agents that get installed into the cloud PC. I'm not talking about the non cloud PC physical devices or virtual devices. I'm purely talking about cloud PC, where we do pull information via Intune agent, via inbuilt, S by X, SXS agent, and there are few other methods through which we pull information. And you will see. So primarily, the data that you see in these reports are pulled via Intune agent.
Okay, thanks. And
All right.
in the same place, they can see other Windows 10 and Windows 11, their devices as well, right? Non-cloud
Correct.
PC.
So
Okay.
correct. Yeah. So in this view, you will see devices of all make and model. In my tenant, I only have cloud PCs,
Yeah.
so it is showing prepended with cloud PC. But there are few. Virtual machines also I have, for example, in which I have enabled Intune enrollment, so it is showing up here as well. If there are physical devices, those will show up in the list as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So device performance view gives device level insights, while model performance essentially shows you what is the ideal performance for a particular physical or a virtual device, in this case, cloud PC. So it'll take a sample and it'll tell you that, okay, this is the ideal performance that a particular device should aspire for. Similar views will exist in essentially all the other reports that I'm going to go. So I'll not double click on each of these reports, but let me go into the other two important reports as far as cloud PC are concerned. Okay, so resource performance essentially is for giving you an indication on how the cloud PC's CPU and memory are working with regards to the user's usage of the cloud PC. So again, it has the similar scoring model. What do these scores mean? Are explained in the tooltip here when you hover, or you can go into the documentation by clicking on the learn more link at the end of the description. So if you look at it, this report, for example, collects metrics over a 28 day period, and it'll plot it as a graph, and you can click on each day and look at different data. So it'll tell you whether there has been a RAM spike, whether there has been any other resource spikes during that time. And similar to the previous report, insights and recommendations will show up here. If you want to show all the devices that are having these scores, then you can click on devices and you can go into specific device, and let's say in this one, and you can look at the cloud PC level data. Now here it is showing 0 for CPU and RAM, because this particular cloud PC has not been logged in for a long time. But if the user is actively using it, essentially you will be able to see data here to see on a particular day whether there has been any RAM spikes. So this report is useful when customers come to you and say that users come to you and say that, hey, I'm seeing slow performance. I don't know what is happening. So you can come to this report for 60%, 40%, similar for RAM, and try to understand if there are any indications of resources being overclocked, resources being overused. It could mean that the device is essentially not suitable for usage for that, but sorry, the device specs are not suitable for that user. They might need a larger one or a smaller one. We do have a report that suggests that, which I will cover in a short bit. Going back, the third one that I want to show you is remoting connection. Now, when a user connects remotely to their cloud PC, there are different steps or different actions that are being performed under the cover, and all those actions are being tracked as to how long it takes. For example, how long it takes for me to connect to the cloud PC. What is the latency of connection when I am using my cloud PC? So that is shown in the form of round trip time, and how long it takes, that is shown in the form of sign in time. So I can look at these information and I can determine whether a particular cloud PC is having problem at the connection time, or whether it is having problem during the usage time. So connection time helps you understand why is it for some users taking too long to log in, while others, they are able to log in much faster. The round trip time is useful to determine whether there is network issues at the cloud PC level, or there are network issues at the end user level. So let's say I'm an end user connecting from my 4G mobile data, it might be much slower compared to a user or end user connecting from office network with dedicated internet connection bandwidth. So that is exactly what this particular report shows you, and it also gives you a indication over the last 28 days. For specific devices, again, you can go in and look at the data in a tabulated format. Any
Uh,
questions here before I move in?
yeah, I do have one question. Can you give a couple of examples what you have seen on sign-in issues, sign-in connection issues? What could be the reason some of the devices were not able to sign in properly?
So, when it comes to sign in, there are two or three different stages internally. In a nutshell, what happens is that user gets prompted with authentication credentials, and they type it. Once they are authenticated, at the second attempt, if they don't have single sign-on enabled, there will be a second prompt for the operating system of the cloud PC to be authenticated. So the first authentication attempt is for the Entra ID authentication at the service level, Windows 365 service level. The second authentication is at the operating system level. And then once the operating system authentication is done, then the next is loading the profile and presenting the user with the active usable desktop. So these are the, at a high level, three stages of connecting or signing into a operating system, cloud PC's operating system. Now, the issues can happen, for example, at the operating system login, where the user is trying to enter the credential. And if the cloud PC is hybrid join, Entra hybrid join, then it needs to authenticate against the on prem Active Directory server. So that might introduce delays. The second area where it can introduce delay is that there might be startup applications that are set up, or specific VPN clients that start on login. Those can add time delays when the user is logging into the operating system.
Right.
So those are the areas where the delays can happen. This report gives you a overall time value for that, and you can go in and look at that particular information and see where exactly the delay is coming from.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
All right. So these are the three important reports that I wanted to show you in this view. The next is we go to devices view. So again, I'm going to take you through a bunch of reports, but in essence, these are all reports that are serving different purposes. We will look at how these reports connect to troubleshooting as well. So far, I have told you about different troubleshooting options at the reporting level, but at near real time value, I will show you what are all the data that is available. One of the key metrics that any customer wants to track is essentially about the availability of the cloud PC, whether there has been any downtime, or if there is any issue at the platform level, that is at Windows 365 service level. The first report that you will need to look at is what is called as a cloud PCs that aren't available report. So, as the name painfully indicates, that report gives you a list of cloud PCs and the reasons why, whether they are not available, or if they are available, what is the status of it, right? So, for that, to access it, you need to go to devices, under devices overview screen, and at the bottom you will see cloud PC performance view. Within that, you'll see a link called devices with connection issues. So you can click on this. This is going to take you to the cloud PCs that aren't available view. In here, if there is a issue with a particular cloud PC, only those will show up in this report. So in this case, for example, this cloud PC is having a problem, And if you look at it, what that problem is, it is under host health, meaning there is some problem with the host that is hosting the cloud PC. So if you look at it, it is basically saying that there is some error message. Let me see. I can go to view details link, and it is going to show me what exactly the issue is. Error VM not running. And when I click on it again, it's going to take me to essentially the list of health checks that are run. So one thing you need to understand about Cloud PC or Windows 365, because it is a SaaS service, we do all the automatic monitoring and report any issues. And one of the ways we do is at individual Cloud PC level, we run a bunch of tests automatically every few hours. These tests are listed here. If you see, they will repeat every quite frequently. So, for example, health check all the way to turn relay access health check. These are automatic tests that are run, and if there is any issue with one of them, the status might turn into unavailable. So in this case, health check failed. So I can click on it and I can see what particular test this health check test does, and when it failed, etc. And based on that, I can determine what could be the problem. So there are troubleshooting actions that you can do. So if you need more information on these tests and what they do, go to the documentation page of Windows 365, and essentially under troubleshooting category you will see a lot of troubleshooting information. All right, so this is an important report. If I go in here, it also tells me errors under different categories. So host health, whether it is healthy or not; connection error, if there are any connection related problems; system status, as in uh, the platform itself, whether it is available or not, or if there are any issues; and the region in which the cloud PC is hosted. What is the device status, whether it has been provisioned or in the process of provisioning or failed provision, etc. So this is a important report for troubleshooting when an end user comes to you and says that they are not able to access their cloud PC. The next is, let me click on the cloud PC performance view, and this is going to take me to a whole slew of other reports. So we have reports that talks about connection quality, um, basically two metrics. What is the round trip time, and if there are any devices that are having slow round trip time, and those will show up here. I can simply click, and it is going to show me those two cloud PCs with a number of additional data, including what was the available bandwidth at the time they were trying to connect. So one is a current value, another one is an aggregated uh, 50th percentile value. It is also going to show me IP address and various other data that is useful for troubleshooting. So similarly, it is also going to show what are the UDP utilization. And for other reports, like for example, cloud PC, let's say utilization, this report tells me how much a cloud PC is being used. Um, it categorizes those cloud PCs under high, none, low, and average. I don't want to delve into this, but this report is primarily about when you assign a cloud PC, whether the users are actually making best use of that cloud PC. If they don't have a need, then you can use this report to gain and basically retrieve that license and reassign it to someone else. If you are wanting to know whether the assigned cloud PC size is the appropriate one, then like I mentioned before, there is a report called cloud PC recommendations. Essentially, this report is going to tell you whether a particular cloud PC being used by user A is correctly sized for their use case. So it will track the core metrics like CPU memory in an anonymized way, and it will come up with recommendation on, for example, whether the cloud PC is of the right size or not. So it is going to categorize. If it is right size, it is good. If a cloud PC assigned is a lower size, meaning they are always hitting high resource utilization, it is going to show up in this view. Oversized, basically they are consistently using very less resource of the cloud PC, that's going to show up here. And finally, underutilized, meaning like whether a cloud PC is being rarely used or used for less than so many hours, then that will show up in here. So you can double click on each of these views and look at those reports individually, or you can go to insights by device, and it'll show up in this view. Basically it'll show up the insight that it is giving you. Now what action you can take based on this insight, each of them have their own path. Underutilized, meaning like you can retrieve the license and you can assign it to some other user. Overutilized, or sorry, oversized, meaning you can assign a smaller license for the user. Or undersized, meaning you can assign a larger license to the user. So those are some of the actions.
Okay.
So I just want to take 2 minutes to explain what data is available at a particular cloud PC level for near real time troubleshooting. So let me go to devices view and Windows 365. If I get into all cloud PCs view, in here you'll see list of all cloud PCs. So let's say one of the user comes to you and says that, okay, I'm having some problems, issues. Then you can click on that particular cloud PC. Within that cloud PC, you will be able to see a view called performance. This is a preview view. So essentially you can click on this performance view, and this view is going to show you the data that you saw in other reports. For example, whether it is available, the cloud PC is available to connect, what is the round trip time, remote sign in time, available bandwidth data, how many hours in the last 7 days and 28 days the user has been connecting and using the device, whether the user is showing as currently signed in or not. All these information that you saw in different reports are available in the single view. So this view, for example, connectivity status, it just simply shows that whether a cloud PC is healthy enough to accept a user connection. So if it is showing unavailable, you can click on view report, and it is going to take you to the familiar previous view where it'll show a list of health checks that was performed, and it'll show you historical view. So you can go up to 28 days of test results and see whether there was a particular pattern that was repeating. So in this case, in the last 7 days, I can see that health check has failed twice. If you are concerned, you can go in and say, take a look what time it failed, and you can cross reference that with a user reported issue. So user on 18th of June might have reported that they were having issue connecting to the cloud PC. At that time at 8:10 p.m., there was a problem with the cloud PC. So you can correlate it and see whether the user report is matching with what is being reported by the system, and that would give you a clue on what was happening at that time historically, as well as the current status. The next is what we saw in one of the other reports is the round trip time, remoting sign in time, and available bandwidth. This data will update frequently in with a lag of about less than 10 minutes. It'll update these values. So when a user calls you in and says that I'm having a very laggy experience or very slow response times from the cloud PC, you can come in here and click on the report, and this report is going to show you time-stamped value of what was the round trip time over a period of time, what was the available bandwidth, how long it took for the user to sign in, where is it the user connecting from, client IP address, what is the protocol they are using. What is the significance of these three columns is that user might be having their cloud PC provisioned in Australia or New Zealand, sorry, in Australia, and the user might be traveling to, say, Singapore, and they are connecting from Singapore to a cloud PC situated in Australia. So at that time, the connection gateway will update to Singapore, and it'll show the protocol as well. So if they are connecting far from a different geography, that would explain why the round trip time is higher, why it took longer for them to sign in, and if they are facing any slow response time or laggy connection, etc., from the available bandwidth and other issues. So it provides you with the details that you can use to infer different results with. Similar with connection protocol, there are two options: TCP versus UDP. UDP provides much better performance for the users. So you can look at the protocol and see at the time of connection or the time of issue whether they were using TCP or UDP. That gives you an indication of whether it is a contributing problem or not. So that's how this report is useful. And this view itself again gives you how long the user has been using over the last 7 days and 28 days. This report is essentially for admins to determine whether Cloud PC is useful for a user or not. So, if let's say the user is using it for only X hours, then there might be a policy that the admin needs to follow where they need to retrieve the license and assign it to someone else. So those kind of actions can be done from here. So with that, that's pretty much it. Shushant, any questions from you?
Thank you so much, Ravi. That was very informative, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day and explaining us the reporting. If I do have any further questions, or if I do get some questions on reporting, I will probably reach out to you for probably a part two of this. Maybe we can
Yeah,
explain a frontline there and other aspects of reporting, probably which is going to come in the future as well.
pleasure, Shushant, and thanks for the opportunity to be on your channel. Thanks for all the great questions and insights. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Ravi.